welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, you want to hit that subscribe button because this channel is full of tea, drama, and story times. And I'm a chick from Brooklyn. Everybody loves a chick from Brooklyn, and that's on period. If you guys hear a little bit background noise, just try to ignore it because I am in a full house. I'm getting ready to go out and my AC is on because it's hot, so just try to ignore it. Y'all know I be talking a little bit loud anyway, so y'all probably can't even hear shit. But as you can see by the title, this story time is about my first time going to Miami on my dolly, and I snuck out. And I was feeling to tell a story only because this whole story is just ghetto. Like, my whole experience was ghetto, and it's just to teach y'all a lesson that y'all should not rush to do anything or rush to grow up, because that's the reason I ended up in the situation to begin with. I was feeling to be outside and be grown. If you couldn't tell by now from watching any of my other story times about my past life, I would consider myself a troubled teen. And I say a troubled teen because I was very trying to do everything on my own, trying to be grown, only because when I was younger, my parents kept me very sheltered and was very strict. So when I started getting a little leeway, I was just trying to have a ball. Like, I was really just wilding out here, and my actions is not a direct reflection of my parents' parenting, because trust me, they tried everything in their power to get me to act out. I just had to learn on my own and grow up and realize the shit that I was doing was not cool. So I make these story times for people that's younger than me, that's watching me. Like, don't do as I do or do as I say, to be honest. But I could understand why some of you guys be wanting to do some wild shit, but just don't do it. It's very dangerous, especially right now. So this happened around when the age 17 and 18. I don't know exactly if it was 17, exactly it was 18. All I remember is I was fresh out of high school. So I was hanging with this group. We was called FF. I'm not gonna go into description. I'm not gonna go into detail of what FF stands for, but if you're from Brooklyn, you know me and you know the group I was hanging around with, y'all know what FF was. Like, y'all know what FF was. So I don't even know exactly how I started hanging out with this group, but the group was me and some other people I mentioned in another story time and some other story times, but it was me and 3 other girls and 1 boy. And only me and 1 other girl was the same age. Everybody else was older than me by 2 years. The boy was older than me by 2 years. The other girl was older than me by 2 years. And the other girl, I think the other girl was older than me by like 3 or 4 years. So pretty much they was grown. So if I was 17 or 18, they was all like 20, 21, and so on and so forth. So they was grown to me. I was the youngest out the group. So I used to always hang around with them. I used to use their IDs, go out to drink. We had a group chat, very grown. We would be outside, you know, we would be hanging out and shit like that. And the boy in the group came in the chat one day and he was like, yo, we should go to Miami. Now at the time, I mean, Miami is still a hot spot, but at the time Miami was a hot spot, like a hot spot. At this point in my life, I had never traveled anywhere without being with my family, or yeah, with my parents or with family. Like, I never went on vacation with friends or anything like that because I was 17 or 18. Now I know what some of y'all think. Oh, you know, some of y'all that's young, y'all probably be like, oh, I can't wait to turn 18. When you 18, in my eyes, not that I'm 25, you're 18, you're still not grown. Like, you still can't move how you want. I mean, some people figure it out, but in New York City, I still can't move how I want because I can't afford to move how I want at 18 years old. Like, I was not doing like, I couldn't afford to be a boss ass bitch at 18. But I wasn't gonna tell my friends that because they all had their own hustles that they was doing to make money, make fast money. I mean, I had a little 1-2 hustles I was doing, you know, a little trapping on the side, making some fast money too. So at this time, I thought that, like, yeah, we going to Miami, I'm lit. Mind you, I'm 18 in this group of people that's grown, and I wasn't really ever, in none of my teenage years, I was barely hanging out with people my age. I always wanted to hang out with people older and do things on a more mature tip, like travel, you know, go to the club, shit like that. I mean, at 17, 18, an average teenager is probably going to school dances and shit like that. They not hitting the clubs, they not hitting Ocean Drive or nothing like that. But I just wanted to have that I'm grown mentality, so I wanted to go to Miami so bad. So soon as homeboy said, yo, we should take a trip to Miami, everybody was like, oh yeah, we out. So now I'm saying I'm out, but I never had traveled anywhere outside of being with my family. You get what I'm trying to say? I mean, I went to St. Lucia with my family, you know, probably go to Florida with my family, but to take a group vacation with homegirls, homeboys, I never did nothing like that. And even though I was kind of doing my own thing, like I said, I was kind of doing my own thing, I was still living in my parents' house, and I still always had to explain myself to them. But I was not going to tell my friends that because I'm grown. So we start planning a trip. Now at this point, it was dead ass the blind leading the blind. I think only the girl that was the oldest in the group had been to Miami and Vegas and all these places before. The rest of us, it was pretty much our first time. I can't speak for the other two girls, but I know it was definitely my first time, and I think it was the boys' first time as well. So it was really the blind leading the blind. Like, we ain't never go nowhere, like on some real traveling tip. None of us on some friends have fun shit. We ain't never go nowhere. And as far as finding a place to stay, all that shit, it was complicated. Like, it was mad complicated. And we just on some, we're gonna book a hotel that's affordable, and it's 5 of us. It was 5 of us, but at the end only 4 of us ended up going. So at this point, we just left it to homeboy. We just left all the planning to homeboy, and we was just like, we're gonna send you the money. So he was sending us places to stay at, and he was looking at the Mondrian and shit like that. But even though it was 4 of us, it was coming out to like $200, $300 a pop for 4 of us to stay together. And we was like, lower. Lower. Like, every time he was sending us shit, we was like a little bit lower, because we was poor. I don't know about them. I mean, they was making a little money, but I was poor. Like, I'm 18. Like I said, I'm doing little traps on the side, but it's not giving. I could back out $300 to stay at a hotel and still have money out there and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't giving that. So he ended up settling, and he was on some shit like, oh, everybody just give me $1. That is a first red flag. If everybody is giving you $1 for a 5-day vacation and it's 4 of us, like, where the fuck are we staying? That's $100 a night. Where the fuck are we staying for $100 a night? No taxes, no fees. Where? So to me, my dumb ass, you know, I ain't never go nowhere. I'm like, $100 a night. All right, we lit. I'm thinking we gonna be in the finest of finest tellies. I mean, now that I'm older, I know better, but I'm thinking we gonna be at something at least halfway decent. But we gonna get to that. So as far as the flights, we was looking at flights. You know, when I traveled with my parents, we was always flying like American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, shit like that. But I'm looking at tickets, and I'm like, I didn't know it cost this much just to go to Miami. I'm not gonna lie, for round trip, it was still giving us $300-400, and this is my first time traveling, so I'm trying to weigh out all the options, and I come across Spirit flight. Mind you, this is when I didn't know nothing about Spirit Airlines, because like I said, when I was traveling with my parents, we only travel the best of the best. Like, I don't even think them little planes go to St. Lucia, honey, because we be flying international. So I never heard of Spirit Airlines. I just seen that it was this airline that could take me to Miami and back round trip for like $130. Like, so what's that? $130 is what? $65 each way? That should have been a second red flag. But I'm like, listen, it's a plane. I could fly it and it could get me to Miami. $135 round trip, book it. So I sent my money to homeboy, he booked it. So now we all hype, yeah, we going to the yams, touchdown in the yams, da 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 da. And now when you know, when you go on vacation, you got to get everything done. You got to get your hair done, your nails done, your feet done. You got to get outfits. Like I said, this is my first time. I didn't know what I know now. So I was trying to take the cheap route with everything. So at this time, I'm gonna just tell y'all, this is just real tea, no judgment zone, please don't judge. But at this time, wearing American Apparel in Brooklyn was a thing. Like, you was an it girl. It was like the Fashion Nova at the time, American Apparel. But American Apparel was expensive, so I ain't gonna lie, I was posting. Don't judge me. At this time, that's how I used to keep myself looking cute. You know, I will boost, because American Apparel was was kind of pricey. American Apparel clothes fit me very well because at that time I was very slim and slender and petite, and they made clothes for the skinny girl. So I was getting all the halter top dress things. I'm gonna put some examples on the screen because y'all know that phase. They had the halter top unitards, they had the halter top dresses, they had the bodysuits. Like, so I was getting all my little outfits from American Apparel. I was getting some stuff from Necessary Clothing and stuff like that. I was also buying little shit, you know, getting my nails done, getting my hair done for this trip, getting mad bathing suits, you know, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna fly down there. It's 4 days. I'm gonna spend like $60 a day. Like, I'm only go out there with like $300. Listen, $300 in Miami, it won't get you past 1 hour. It costs like $500 as soon as you step on the strip. You put your toe on the strip, that's a rack right there. So I did not know that. This is my first trip. I'm thinking $300 is gonna cover me for 4 days. It wasn't gonna work out. So now that I got my hotel situation together, I got my flight situation together, I got my outfit, my hair and stuff like that situation together, and I know how much money I'm gonna be bringing out there and how much money I'm saving up to go out there with, how I'm gonna tell my parents that I'm going to Miami. Initially I was going to lie and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be spending time with my friend out here in Virginia, because I did have a childhood friend that moved to Virginia. I was gonna say, oh yeah, I'm going to visit my friend in Virginia for this day to this day, but I don't know why I couldn't even get the courage to even tell them I'm going to Virginia on a bus. Like, I couldn't even work that up to tell them. So I came up with the decision that my flight is 6 a.m. I'm gonna just creep out in the middle of the night when my bag's packed. I know, don't ever if you're watching this and you're young, don't ever fly to another state without your family knowing. Don't ever do anything like that. That is the most dangerous game to play. I was like, I'm gonna just creep out in the middle of the night. My flight at 6 in the morning, I'm gonna have to go like 3, you know, 4. I'm gonna just creep out and do my own thing. So only person I had told was Fatima, and then I packed my bags and I was on my way. Now, Miami. First of all, flying Spirit, terrible experience, very ghetto, do not recommend. So now we landed in Fort Lauderdale and we get to our hotel and bruh, I don't even know if I want to call that a hotel. Like, it was given very much motel. Like, literally, that shit looked like something straight out of a horror movie. Look at this place, it's nasty.
Oh, baby, come on now. Let me think now. Let me think. Okay, shoot, let me think. If you really look around and look at it, we got our bed and stuff, Gina, the place is really not that bad.
That's what it was given. And it was 4 of us, and we was about to be caught up in this room, and that shit was like the worst living condition ever. And I started thinking, like, what am I doing? This is probably one of the worst decisions I ever made. Like, why would I come down here to stay in this situation when I got a nice comfortable house that I could have stayed in, could have kept $300 in my pocket? Like, why did I come here? So we get there, you know, the motel looks very motelish, you know, it got floral sheets. I'm gonna post a picture in the name of the hotel because I can't remember right now, but I'm gonna look through my camera roll and get all that information. But I'm gonna post it somewhere here so y'all can get an idea of what kind of room we were staying in. So we were staying in a room like this, very much motel, very much smelling like cigarettes, very much got a roach, got mice, outdated as fuck, old ass chests of drawers, old ass night stands, 2 twin beds, bathroom nasty. Like, what we was expecting was more bang for our buck, and it was giving more buck for bang. Like, it was giving this is where we gonna stay for the next 4 days. We gotta get comfy. I would have rather stayed in county jail than stayed in that motel, hotels, hostel, whatever. I already knew the instant regret flowed in. Why the fuck am I here? What am I doing? Okay, so we carrying on with our vacation because listen, we here now, we might as well ride out. So the first thing we decided to do is go on the strip. Now, I had a little fake ID. I ain't gonna lie, I had a fake ID since I was 16. I had a bunch of them things, and anywhere in New York City, it was getting me through with the fakes. I'm not gonna lie, because my fake ID was like, I had one from Jersey. I mean, it was good fakes, if you in New York, because they don't really come across other state IDs like that, so they probably not even like studying, watching Mad Face. I was getting all the spots in Brooklyn with my fake ID. They was never clocking me. So we go on the strip, I'm getting drinks and stuff, they asking me for ID, but they letting me rock. Like, I'm getting drinks and shit, they letting me rock with the ID. So I'm like, oh, it's lit, I'm in Miami. So we taking pictures and stuff, you know, I'm popping my shit because yeah, I'm in Miami, bitch. And we come across a promoter and he like, oh, what y'all doing tonight? I'm like, we not doing shit or whatever. And the promoter's like, oh yeah, come to this party, it's gonna be this rapper and this rapper and this rapper. So we like, yeah, we in there, not knowing how Miami clubs are set up. We're thinking we're just gonna get in like it's a New York club. Honey, it wasn't given that. So later on that night, we all get dressed up to go to the club or whatever. So it's me, homeboy, and my two friends. Now when we get to the club, my two friends go in. My two friends were by the door and they got their IDs checked, and then one of them seen a boy that they knew, and he was like, oh, what y'all doing? La la la, come in with me. So they went in, mind you, and they telling us to come. So they telling me and homeboy to come, like, come on, because the boys like, come on, them two is with me. So they like, come on, so we can go. So the bouncer like, all right, you could go, let me just check your ID. So I'm like, that ain't nothing but a thing, baby. He took my ID, he looked at me. He said, get the fuck off my line. That's literally what he said, the bouncer. He said, get the fuck off my line. And I'm like, all right, what? Like, I was just sitting so taken aback because that had never happened to me. Never in New York. I didn't know what he was talking about, what was wrong with my ID, what was wrong with me. Like, I'm like, what you mean, get the fuck off your line? He looked at me, he said, this is a fake ID. Get off my line. So I'm like, all right, can I get my ID back? Because I'm like, all right, I don't gotta come here. I don't gotta come here. Can I get my ID back? He's like, no. And I'm like, please, can I have my ID back? Because all I'm thinking is the rest of my trip, I need ID to do everything. Because I'm supposed to be 21 and up to do anything on the strip. Anything. So I need to be Miss Jessica Washington that's on that ID. I cannot be who I am. So you got to give me that ID back so I can enjoy the rest of my trip. He was like, it's either you stand here and wait for your ID and I call the police, or you can get the fuck off my line and leave without no ID. So once he said police, you know what I did, honey? I got the fuck off his line because I'm not trying to go to jail in Miami. My parents don't even know I'm out here. So I felt a little instant shame and embarrassment.
Not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
My friends were already inside the club. They kept calling me and my homeboy like, oh, where y'all at, where y'all at? So I'm trying to explain to them like, can you see if your mans could come get us? This bouncer took my ID, he's not letting me in. The homeboy came to talk to the bouncer. The bouncer is like, nigga, she's not coming in, she's mad young, she's not getting this ID, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. And the homeboy just stopped trying, and he was just looking at me like, all right, well, I don't know you, I know your homegirl, and if you can't get in, I don't know what to tell you. So I don't even want to drain everybody's energy and be the person that stops everyone's fun. So I was like, you know what, you guys could go ahead without me, I'm gonna just go back to the motel and chill. So that's when the bouncer had told homeboy that it is $150 for men to get in. Ladies are free, but $150 for men to get in. And my homegirl's homeboy, she wasn't gonna let the other homeboy in. He wasn't gonna let the other homeboy in, because you know that's just a men thing. Like, why would I get a nigga in? I don't even know, bro. So me and my homeboy took our sorry asses back to the motel while our other two friends was in the club party rocking and shit. And I was just thinking the whole time, like, I want to go home. They took my fake ID. The fun is over. Like, I cannot do shit. I can't do shit. I can't even go on a strip for real, because they ID you literally everywhere you go. And then I started thinking like, this is what I get for trying to be grown and trying to do stuff before my time. Like, this is just the universe telling me like, you was fiending, and look at all the things that's happening to you. At this point, I just want to go home. So fast forward, the next couple of days, I just was chilling by myself while my friends was going out and doing shit. I was just on Facebook. I was taking pictures next to palm trees, trying to look like I'm living the vida loca. The whole time I can't do shit. I don't got no ID. I think one of the times we deadass went out and I had to have my homeboy order the drink and pass it to me, and that's just too much work. I was just very depressed. The rest of my trip, I was drained and I just wanted to go home. Now the night before my trip, I get a text from my mom, and she was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm at my friend's house. Now, I don't know why I thought that I could just go missing for like fucking 3-4 days and my parents don't give a fuck about me and whatnot, try to figure out where I was at. And I didn't think for a second to get a story put together. So when my mom texted me, I was just like, I'm at my friend's house. She was like, which friend? Where? And I didn't write back because I was just like, my heart was beating on my chest. And I was like, you know what? I go home tomorrow, so when I get home, I'm just gonna deal with the consequences. Let me just ignore her, and then I'm just gonna pop up tomorrow. She started texting, calling, blowing my phone down. Now, I'm trying to be cool around my other friends because, you know, they grown. They parents not worried about where they at. I'm trying to be cool, so I went and blocked my mother. Like, I kid you not, I blocked my mother. I will tell you guys, never do no shit like this, bro. It is very dangerous. Like, I don't know why I was taking all these risks to live life. Like, I don't understand. My time was coming. I was going to be 21 one day, so I could have went to Miami when I was 21, tried to be grown. So she's calling, and I'm just like ignoring, blocking my mom's number. My dad is reaching out. My dad, he's a little bit more cooler than my mom, so I'm like texting my dad like, I'm out of town, I'm not gonna lie, but I told him I was in Virginia at the friend's house, and he was like, you're lying. Me and your mother know you're in Florida, you're in Miami, because Fatima told us, and you should get your ass home before we violate you. And my mom was like, yeah, before we put out a missing persons report. So I almost shitted myself. So I was just like, you know what, I come home tomorrow, please. Like, we're gonna talk when I come home tomorrow. Please don't call the police. I don't want my older friends to get in trouble. I will be home tomorrow. And I guess they was just like, okay, or whatever, like, since they knew where I was at that point and had communicated with me. Next day, bright and early, I'm getting ready to get to the airport, and me and homeboy was on the same flight again, but I was waiting on homeboy. Like, he was doing something, I don't remember what he was doing, but whatever he was doing was holding us the fuck back. And we get to the airport now, and we ended up missing our flight. Now, honey, the way I missed my flight at this time, I don't even know if it's still like this now. Spirit, once you miss your flight, you gotta buy a new one. And honey, I was down to like $100. Like, I was dead ass stranded out there. Like, so I had to start calling around because I was trying to call everybody but my parents. I was calling my cousins, my best friend, like, who could book me a flight back home, and everybody was on some, bitch, you're wildin'. That's your problem. Like, nobody told you to go out there. We can't help you. You know how much it costs to get a flight the same day? It's expensive. So I had to call my mom, and I pretty much was bawling on the phone like I'm dead stranded, and she basically was like, what you sow, what you rip. Like, stay out there. Like, you wanted to be out there, you wanted to be grown. Nobody told you to go to Florida. You didn't tell nobody you was going to Florida, and now you need my help. Now you want to call me. But you know how mothers stay. They got to give you a whole fucking rundown, a whole speech, and then they end up doing the thing for you. Like, she gave me that whole speech, made me think that she was gonna leave me out there, and she ended up actually booking my flight back home. But as soon as I got home, I ain't gonna lie, it tore me a new ass. I couldn't go outside for a while, even at 18. Like, at 18, I was getting my ass torn because that was just extreme. And my parents was dead ass just tight at me and upset that I would even go do something outrageous like that. Like, and I honestly thought that it was gonna be worth it when I was going. I was like, listen, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna deal with the consequences after. But my whole trip was a fucking disaster. My ID got taken. I needed that. Like, how I'm gonna get to the spots in the city? I was broke. I'm gonna admit it. Miami is very expensive. Do not go there thinking you could have fun on a couple $100 budgets. Plan accordingly, have your shit together. But you know, you live and you learn. If I never went to Miami the first time, went through those experiences, I would have never known how it is to go to Miami. And now I could go there. I know exactly how to plan, where to stay at, what the spots are, and have fun. You know, I didn't really know any better. That was my first out-of-state trip without my family and having to pay for everything myself, because you know, when you go with family, your parents got you. No, that was my first time trying to be grown, and that's when I realized, like, I don't want to be grown. Being grown is expensive. Trying to grow up too fast is expensive. It's too much to keep up with. I'ma just stay a little kid, you know. I'ma just try to stay in my lane. And you know what people say about Miami trips breaking up friendships? I swear to God, going on that trip to Miami really separated me with that whole friend group, that whole FF group over time. it was just distance between all of us, because after Miami we was all fucked up, we was all miserable. It was just a lot of drama that happened in Miami that caused us to stop being friends, but that's another story for another day. But this is the story time about how I snuck out and went to Miami. Don't do as I do or as I say, do better than me, because honey, my life is a fucking disaster. If you like this video, you want more story times, tell a friend to tell a friend, hit that subscribe button. Let me know down below your first experience in Miami, if you ever been to Miami. How was it like? Was it a disaster? Was it a horror story like me? Or did you have a lit time? Let me know down in the comments. And like I said, tell a friend to tell a friend, hit that subscribe button, because we on the road to 50K, and from there's 51K, 52K, 53K, from there's up in the